guys, welcome to another episode of MOONIELICIOUS. I'm Michelle from Heart Panorama.
And I'm Luna TK.
And today's topic is how to be low-key about your Sailor Moon obsession. And we're going to talk about how you can include your Sailor Moon love into your everyday life. Alongside Sailor Moon, we're also mentioning other brands, products, or services. Any form of product placement in this podcast solely serves discussion purposes and is not paid or sponsored in any way. If you aren't familiar with Sailor Moon, please be aware that this podcast may contain spoilers. We recommend you to watch or read the series before listening to our podcast.
One of the reasons we decided we wanted to do this topic is because Michelle and I are both in our mid-20s at this point, and we are obviously still obsessed with Sailor Moon. I mean, really. I have a YouTube channel. She has a YouTube channel. We both do geeky things, and we have a Sailor Moon podcast. So, yeah, we obviously both still really love the series, but there are certain situations or certain times where we can't be like, hey, look at me. I have my Sailor Moon graphic t-shirt and my hair up in Odango and walking around with my Sailor Moon wand. It's just not always practical. So the idea is that I know for me, an example, sometimes I like to feel powerful. Sometimes I like to start my day off excited about what I'm wearing or what I'm doing, and including something in my everyday life to kind of start it out on a positive note. So especially like when you're in a professional setting, like if you have, a job that you go to, 9 to 5, a professional setting, and you have to kind of look, presentable. There are a lot of things that you can do, however, to still subtly have your Sailor Moon obsession without it being outright obvious.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also I'd like to add that, for example, for me personally, I'm more of the type of person that doesn't wear that flashy clothes, or I'm very subtle in my clothing, also when it's not related to Sailor Moon. So I usually try to find something that isn't that, I don't know how to describe it, that isn't like, hey, I'm a super fan of Sailor Moon, or I'm a fan of this and that. But I like to include a few bits and pieces of my love for Sailor Moon in everyday life, even though I'm still more of the subtle kind of person.
Yeah, absolutely, because, I mean, sometimes there's just, I'm in a mood where, like, I want to feel like a Sailor Senshi, but I might have to go to work that day, and, well, I can't be an outright weeb at work, so I get to find ways every day, and it's kind of exciting. It gives you a way to be creative about it, and I think that's one of the big things for me is you really, if you kind of figure out ways to include it in ways that aren't outright obvious, like, hey, I'm wearing a full-on Sailor Moon shirt and, full out decked out, in a cosplay, then you almost kind of feel good about yourself, because not because you're being, hiding who you are, but more because it gives you a lot more options, in my opinion. It gives you a lot more options on the kind of things you could wear, and it gives you creativity. And like when you, for example, throw on a cute outfit that's inspired by Chibiusa, you can walk out there and be like, yeah, I'm Chibiusa for the day, but nobody's gonna know. Like, and you can just feel good, like, hey, I have all these things in my closet that I put together, and like, but nobody's gonna know. And that's one of the things I do in my reactions too, is I don't do a full cosplay. I do an outfit that's inspired by it.
Yeah, and I actually really like that you did that with your reaction videos, that you somehow started to just casually cosplay and somehow find your inner, not Senshi in this case, but the character that you were displaying. And you still look normal. It's not like you were sitting there with a full spandex costume or something.
Full on,
like you just
leather.
You still could have gone out with this outfit and go to work with this outfit. So I really like that.
Yeah, and it's fun. I feel good about it, and I can explain it, and and have a lot of yeah, just it's fun. It's just fun. So, with that in mind, we're going to talk about some different ways that we go about doing that, and including Sailor Moon in everyday life, not just in fashion, but in other ways as well.
Exactly. So I thought about a few things that I actually do in my everyday life. So, for example, a friend of mine sent me, it's actually our joint friend, Brian, sent me a Sailor Moon purse a few years ago. And it's actually this Luna bag that has little ears and a crescent moon on the front. And it's really subtle, and only Sailor Moon fans could actually guess that it's related to Sailor Moon. And I actually once saw a girl in town who had the same purse, and I was like, oh yeah, I know, I know what you did there. So yeah, and also I have another item that is my wallet. I've used that for about 2 years, I guess, now. It's also from a certain line. I can't remember what exactly it's called, but I think it's from Samantha Vega, and she does really cute, subtle items like purses and wallets and so on. So I still have like my wallet with a little Luna and little Artemis on it, and nobody can guess that it's related to Sailor Moon except they know about the series.
I think that's one of the great things about how over the past, few years or so, how there has been this revival with Sailor Moon in terms of all of this new stuff that has been coming out for the 20th and now the 25th anniversary. And honestly, it looks like it's going to go like that until the 30th at this rate, which is totally fine with me. But I mean, there's also a big thing right now. The 90s are popular. Everybody, because now all the 90s kids are now becoming, adults here, and so we're all trying to bring that back and trying to normalize it, which is, I think, great. We want to promote people being themselves and being able to kind of share what they enjoy. And so there are a lot of really fantastic fashion lines that are out there right now, and even like stores like Hot Topic and Box Lunch, which I love Box Lunch, are having like these really cute outfits and stuff. Prior to all of these collaborations with Sailor Moon and these fashion artists, however, we didn't really have a lot of opportunity to include our fandoms, in this case Sailor Moon, in our everyday life in terms of fashion or other things. So with that in mind, there are actually a lot of ways to do this without actually purchasing any real Sailor Moon items. I know I personally actually have a Pinterest board that's dedicated to casual cosplay, whether it's Miraculous or Sailor Moon, and there are plenty of different ways to do that. But before I go into that, do you have any ideas about if you were to pick out an outfit inspired by Sailor Moon, what would you do, Michelle?
I think I would check like different screenshots maybe and try to find items in my closet that somehow look like the items in the series. But I also saw someone on Twitter posting a picture of clothes they sew themselves that actually were inspired by the clothes from the series. So they actually sew their own clothes to have the exact same outfits like the Senshi. And I think that's amazing. I think I even tagged you in that tweet.
Oh, wow. So like they actually like sew them and like make them?
Yeah, I think they made them themselves. I don't think they bought them.
That's cool.
But I'm not 100% sure. But I think they did make them themselves.
Wow, that's really cool. I mean, that is one way to do it, I mean, I know that, for example, every one of the Sailor Senshi has like basically their own symbol or element kind of thing that you could incorporate into your outfit. So, for example, there's the obvious for Sailor Jupiter. There's the roses, like the rose earrings, and there are lightning bolts. right? Because she has the power of lightning. So if you find things that, obviously you could just simply, if you want an outfit that's inspired by Sailor Jupiter, find something green, find like a green outfit, maybe a little bit of a pink accessory, to go with it, and incorporate some sort of jewelry or object that has like a lightning bolt or roses, like earrings or a ring or a wallet, and automatically there, like you throw your hair up in a ponytail, boom, you got yourself a Makoto. There you go. For Venus, you could do a red bow in your hair, right? A little headband with a bow, or
That's bold though.
yes. But like do something like, I mean, that's a little bold. I mean, I personally, there's cute little like bows you could do. Like personally, like a headband. Like, there's a lot of like little subtle like headbands that have like a small bow. It doesn't have to be a full on honking thing on the back of your head. It could be something simple, and then maybe wear some orange and yellow and just wear something kind of, honestly, an outfit that's inspired by Venus is going to automatically be a little bold. I mean,
That's true.
Look, she's a bold person. She's very fashion forward. So if you decide one day that you want to be bright, and it's maybe, I personally think, for example, a Sailor Venus outfit would be very good for spring because her colors are very springy, spring or summer. I think that would be a very good appropriate time to wear something inspired by her. Jupiter would probably be a good fall outfit, right? Because it's more muted.
I would have thought that Jupiter is also something that fits spring, actually, because of the green and the pink. I somehow relate more to spring when I think of these colors.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think the reason why I think about it is like when I'm picturing it, I'm picturing like a deeper green, like a more earthy green, like not necessarily as bright as what she wears, more of like, because she's the Sailor Senshi of basically like earth and like lightning, so I'm thinking more of like an earthy green, like a deep green with like a little bit of pink. And then when I think of like a deeper green, I think of fall, like, I think more of those kind of like, because, you get sort of more of the darker colors as you go into fall and winter. I mean, I'm not that fashion forward, but I just know that that's tend to be what I do.
But it's actually interesting to see that we have a different perception of what season we connect to each senshi.
Yeah. This just kind of happened. I didn't even really, this is just a stream of consciousness right now. But like a lot of the things that I've seen, like on Pinterest, for example, are, for example, a green, something green, like boots. Boots are definitely a thing because she wears boots. She's one of the only ones that has like the boots with like the laces versus like a full-on thigh-high like boot like Mercury or Sailor Moon. But she has a very like a clunky like boot with laces and like, and like, like a ring that has a lightning bolt or things like that. Like very like, I would love to wear a Jupiter outfit, for example.
Do it. Do it.
All right. How about this? I'm going to ask you a question since your favorite Sailor Senshi is Sailor Mars. If you had to pick out an outfit that would be based upon Sailor Mars, what would you do?
This is actually hard to think of spontaneously because my first thought goes to my prom dress from high school. And it was actually like really sleek and in Bordeaux red and was like, it has a bit of tulle beneath. And yeah, I didn't really think of Sailor Mars when I graduated from high school because that was before the time that I got into the fandom and all. But back then my friends kept saying that red is a color that goes well with my skin tone and my hair. So I chose something red, even though people might say red is actually quite bold to wear at a prom. But I just went with it. And when I think back, I was like, this actually fits because I relate to Sailor Mars so much. And I coincidentally wore the same color.
Yeah, that's totally valid. I mean, you can do something like this in everyday life, or you can do it like if
Mm.
you're like for prom, or in this case, like or in my case, I did it for my wedding. Shameless plug.
Yeah, tell us a bit about your wedding. I mean, I know there's a vlog coming up and you will talk about this in detail, but let us know what initially inspired you to include Sailor Moon items or Sailor Moon related items in your wedding.
So I go into a little bit of detail into that as to why I chose that in my future Sailor Moon vlog, which will be out on June 10th. That'll be for mine and Andrew's anniversary. But basically, I decided I wanted to include Sailor Moon because I just loved it so much. And a lot of the messages and stuff I felt were very powerful and kind of could be very wedding related. So there's ways that if something is really, really special to you, really important, and if you have some sort of special event and you need to choose a theme or inspiration for it, include your fandom. Do it. I mean, I did that actually for prom on purpose. It wasn't Sailor Moon. I actually did a Beauty and the Beast style for my junior prom. I found like a yellow dress. I wore my hair half up like Belle does and stuff. And I think another thing about doing like when it comes to fashion and doing, you know, Sailor Moon inspired fashion or fandom inspired fashion is not only that you're including your fandom in your everyday life, but also it gives you ideas. For me, when I don't know what to wear, like I'm like, I have no idea what I want to wear today. There is nothing in my closet. If I start thinking about what I want to channel for that day and be like, okay, well, what kind of mood am I in, right? Am I in a Makoto mood? Am I in a Minako mood? Like what kind of thing, what's a good way to get creative with what I'm wearing today? And that's one of the things, and that's why, that's a big reason why I did that with my wedding, for example, is because I'm like, all right, if I choose a theme, in this case, it will help me narrow down and be creative with how to go about doing this. So that's really kind of the real main thing here when it comes to things like that. So I'll ask you another question. If you had to do a Luna inspired outfit. Now I know that my name is Luna, but I'm going to have you come up with, if you had to do a Luna inspired outfit, what would you do?
Well, I would probably choose something that includes black because Luna's fur is rather black, and find something that includes half moons somehow because
Yeah,
that's like
valid.
on her forehead. And well, I think there are a lot of outfits actually or items that have like moons on it, and it doesn't even have to be from a Sailor Moon clothing line or something, but it's just a common pattern that is used in fashion. And I think that's actually great about Sailor Moon because you can incorporate the moon aspect of it, but find several clothes out there that weren't initially released because of Sailor Moon or something, but because the moon itself is just a very common pattern.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty easy to find something that fits. So yeah, when I had to come up with a Luna outfit, I would go for a rather black outfit with moons, and maybe, didn't she wear like a bow in one of the movies? So maybe
A bow, yeah.
Yeah, maybe include that somewhere.
A little yellow bow. Yeah, little yellow bow for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could either do that or you could do purple. It could either be black or purple, depending. It's because, like, in some lights, her fur is more purple.
that's
so
true.
I think either black, like, I automatically, because she looks like a little, she's a black cat, just like my Luna, my cat. Or, you know, there's a couple different ways. I think Luna is probably one of the easiest characters to maybe channel a bit, in my opinion, because you could also do purple and yellow. you know, like a combination, like her human form, like her outfit. You
Yes.
could do something kind of flowy if you wanted to do that. So yeah. What about, so yeah, we did a lot of fashion. There's a lot of things you could do with fashion when it comes to Sailor Moon. I think it's because it's more of a very, it's a show about femininity, basically, as we've talked about in our last podcast with empowering girls and women in Sailor Moon. I mean, it's basically saying, you know, hey, you can be girly and fashionable and very much into your clothes or whatever, and also be a superhero. So I think that's one of the reasons, honestly, why you can make a lot of really cute outfits in Sailor Moon, or come even look at some of their outfits and try to recreate them, as you've said. However, please, whatever you do not try to recreate some of Mamoru's outfits. No purple pleated pants.
I was actually waiting for this to come up.
No, don't do the purple pleated pants. Don't.
Since you mentioned Mamoru's outfit from the 90s series, I was thinking that basically the series started in the 90s and was based on the fashion that was popular back then. So I wonder how many of these outfits you could actually still wear today. And I think due to the fact that fashion has changed so much in the past 20 to 25 years, maybe there are only a few outfits that you could actually still wear today and not stand out like a weirdo or something. So maybe you might want to change a few details about the outfit if you want to recreate something from the 90s series.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, I'm trying to think, though, about some of the outfits that they have in Crystal. It seems like, I have to look now, but in my, like, if you look at the opening, because I actually have a picture of the first season, the opening for Sailor Moon Crystal, and some of the outfits that they wear when they have the umbrellas and stuff.
Yes.
They're actually pretty cute. They're not bad. They also have all those really cute umbrellas. So it doesn't have to necessarily just be an outfit. It could be accessories. I love those umbrellas, like Usagi's umbrella with the bunnies on it. I have one. It's so cute. It's literally the best umbrella I've ever owned. But yeah, random tangent. And lastly, I figured I would just add this in as well. If you do decide that you want to kind of, for example, like I have a bunch of Sailor Moon graphic t-shirts. I don't really wear them, though. Like, I don't really wear them very much. Like, I don't wear them in a professional setting.
Oh,
but
are these the ones that you showed in your video from, like, way back? Where you showed your whole collection and there were so many t-shirts?
Yes. I have so many. But, like, I realize, like, I don't really wear them except when I'm, like, in casual wear. But I've actually seen online where there's actually some really cute ways to go about doing that and kind of dressing them up. And this is just kind of any graphic t-shirt. There are ways you can actually dress up, like, a graphic t-shirt. And even if it's Sailor Moon, if you want to be a little bit more bold, one of those ways would be, like, you pair it with, like, a really cute jacket, like a slightly dressier jacket, right? So if you want to wear, like, a bold Sailor Moon outfit, a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll add, like a cute, like, chunky, like, cardigan over top. Or I'll add a blazer, actually. Like, it seems like a weird combination, but, like, if you have, like, one of the graphic t-shirts with, like, straight up, like, Sailor Moon's face. But, yeah, so, like, if you were to actually find a jacket or other items, if you just include, like, just one, like, Sailor Moon thing in your outfit, and then you include some things that are more dressy, you can actually dress things up really cute sometimes. Like, I have a few, like, blazer jackets. I've done that myself, and nobody, like, really noticed how geeky I actually was. Like, it came together really nice. Like, I haven't done it yet because I was actually going to save it for a cosplay, but I think I'm just going to say whatever and just include it. I have Sailor Moon's choker. Like, I have the choker with the moon on it, and I want to put together, like, a really cute outfit, like, wear the red lipstick and, like, something after that, like, I don't know. I'm figuring it out. Like something navy, right? Something like really like I don't know. I'll figure it out and I'll probably post it on Twitter when I figure out a way to include it in my everyday outfit. But there's ways to do it.
I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yes. If the listeners tune into my Twitter, maybe you'll see some more of that. Yeah.
Some background stuff that you can't see in her videos.
Yep.
Shameless self-promotion.
Shameless self-promotion. I'm sorry. I have a lot of self-promotion here.
So we talked a lot about fashion-related ways to include Sailor Moon in your everyday life, but there are also other opportunities to find items that remind you of Sailor Moon. I personally am thinking of my magnetic board. It's like a sort of, like some sort of a pin board, but with magnets. And when I purchased the Sailor Moon Crystal DVDs, they had some little extras where they added Sailor Moon magnets. And now I'm using them on my magnetic board. So that's also something that you can do in your everyday life. So you have your magnetic board and all your notes and to-do lists on it. And you can just add some Sailor Moon sparkle on it through Sailor Moon magnets. And I still have another pin board where I have my Sailor Mars button on it that you sent me actually. So it's still hanging there. And then I also have the DVDs displayed on my shelf. And yeah, that's basically what my bedroom looks like.
Well, that's awesome.
How about you?
I actually do something really similar, to be honest. I'll probably actually tweet this out on the same day, but I have some things that I've actually made to go on my wall. I have a bulletin board. And I actually have like cute little quotes like act like a lady, think like a boss, and like it has like this little like watercolor background, and then like really subtly there's Sailor Moon's like transformation. But I have some things like that. You know, I have a thing that says don't ever let anybody dull your sparkle. It's never too late to transform yourself. Things like that I just kind of put in my office that are really kind of cool. So yeah, I do that too.
Oh, when you mentioned the quotes, I actually remembered that from time to time I'm actually looking for Sailor Moon related quotes that I could use as phone wallpapers or desktop wallpapers. So that's also a way to include Sailor Moon in your everyday life.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I never thought about using a Sailor Moon quote. I've used full on like Sailor Moon things, but yeah.
I usually like to include some sort of quote or just, I don't know, something with words on it on my start screen, like not on my lock screen, but on the home screen of my phone. So it's something that somehow inspires me and reminds me of something, or I don't know, motivates me. And also that's on my desktop wallpaper, I usually tend to have like a home screen with an image, but the lock screen will be a quote or something. So when I open my computer, the first thing I see is a quote. From time to time, I choose a Sailor Moon quote or something that isn't directly from Sailor Moon, but reminds me of Sailor Moon. But I think it's really easy because it's something that you can switch all the time and you don't have to keep it for always. But you can just, when you're in the mood of looking at something related to Sailor Moon or reminding you of Sailor Moon, that's a quick way to do it. And you don't have to print anything out or something. You don't have to hang anything on your wall. It's something you can switch very quickly.
That's really cool, actually. I never thought about that. And, like, doing it with a quote, that's so smart. Especially if it's, like, an inspiring quote. That's such a positive way to, like, start your day or, like, continue to remind yourself of something positive and, like, inspire you. That's really cool.
Especially nowadays that we tend to use our phones and laptops or computers in general every day or almost every day.
Yeah.
I think it's somehow also a place where you look at every day or every now and then. So it's a great way to remind you of something.
Wow, that's really cool. I'm gonna do that now. Actually, I'll lead into that since we're talking about phones here. I don't know about you, but I have some Sailor Moon ringtones, like 100%.
Ooh.
Yes, but like I'm not outright bold with it. All right, so it's not just like so. There are a lot of like ways. There are a lot of Sailor Moon. I don't know if you've ever heard of like 8-bit music.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like where they make it sound like a video game. Mm-hmm. They don't just sound like a video game. They sound like an old school like ringtone. Mm-hmm. So like there are things like that out there that you can actually have as ringtones or make them as ringtones, which is really cool. So like for me, my main ringtone is actually Moon Pride, but in the 8-bit version.
Ooh.
Yes. So no, like literally, unless you're a Sailor Moon fan, like it sounds like a ringtone.
Yeah,
it sounds like a ringtone, but it's the Sailor Moon theme.
I like that.
Like, yeah. And the other thing is like the sound effects that I have. Mm-hmm. For example, like text tones. It's just a simple sound effect from Sailor Moon. So like Andrew, like you know, like the tuxedo mask sound effect where it's like like when he throws his rose, right? So like that's his text tone. Mm-hmm. and then. And Mars, all right, so that's my friend Danya. So she has like you know like when she does like her Mars fire and it has like the drums like the do 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 like that sound effect. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's her ringtone. Like that's her text tone. And then like I have like the Pegasus neigh and like things like that or like a sparkle from like a transformation sound, like different sound effects from the show, just one sound effect I have as my text tones. 100%.
It's actually pretty smart to use them.
Yeah, and like I use it for different people too. Mm-hmm. Like as you can tell, like my friend Danya, who's my Mars, you know, she has the Mars ringtone. My friend Becky, she's Mercury, so I had like a bubble sound effect. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it helps me not only to include Sailor Moon subtly, but also helps me know who's texting me at that time.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't usually have my phone on, like the sound is usually turned off. But I remember that once the album came out, like, do you remember the album that they recorded with, I think, with the voice actors from Sailor Moon Crystal, and where they had character songs? And I actually used one of them as my ringtone once.
Ooh, yeah.
But I don't remember if it's still on because I tend to keep my phone on quiet, and I don't remember if I still have it on there. But I remembered that I actually used that one as a ringtone.
Wow, yeah, so that's actually pretty cool. Okay, so I'm not the only one who's done Sailor Moon ringtones.
Yeah, especially I think this character album is actually quite useful because they're not the Sailor Moon songs that you hear everywhere or that people already know because they know from the 90s series that this is related to Sailor Moon. But you'll have to be a Sailor Moon fan to know that this is related to Sailor Moon. Otherwise, you'll just think, okay, this is some Japanese song.
Yes. You know what's cool about having, like, subtle Sailor Moon things in your life is not just, like, to be subtle, but also because it's, like, if you want to meet people that have just as much, like, love for the series as you do, they'll see it. Like, if you're out at the mall, you know what I mean? If you're out at the mall and you have, like, something, like, subtle and, like they know it, like the bag, right? So, like, as you said, like, the purse, right? They'll be like, oh, my gosh, that's a cool purse. Like, oh, my gosh, is that a Sailor Moon purse? Like, people, like, who are actually, like, just as much of a fan of it as you are will notice. And that's a great way to make friends, to be honest. That happened to me one time. I was at, like, I was like out and about like at the mall and like somebody noticed. And I've actually I've seen some people like that have had like more subtle things, but they're Sailor Moon, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is that Sailor Moon? And they're like, yeah, how'd you know? And I was like, I don't know. Like it was just a thing, or like it's really like subtle, like it was like maybe like one of the outfits from like Box Lunch, for example. I'd be like, oh wow, yeah, that's really cool. Like I love that outfit, I love that shirt, like it's really cute. And they're like, yeah, like only real Sailor Moon fans know this. And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's cool. Yeah.
You know, in this context, what I've been wondering for ages, and I know we can't answer this question, but I just want to know if you maybe noticed it. But as you might know, I'm a huge fan of Ariana Grande, and I keep wondering if she's a Sailor Moon fan as well, because she has all this moon-themed stuff, like her moon-shaped tattoo and all of that, saying she's a moonlight princess and something. And I feel like,
really?
Are you a Sailor Moon fan? Or so
yeah,
somehow
there's been
somehow it can't be a coincidence, but she's not like outright saying, hey, here, I'm a Sailor Moon fan and I'm living it.
Yeah,
but it's really subtle, and I keep wondering.
Yeah. It's been a confirmed thing with Britney Spears. Britney Spears is a Sailor Moon fan, and you could see it sometimes. I'm pretty sure there was like, it's still up to debate on whether that picture of her from the gym or wherever it was that she was in the background, it almost looks like she has a Sailor Moon wand in the background. It has it has her wand from the Sailor Moon Super S series. Like it looks like it.
Yeah, I think
very
you
much
showed
looks
me that.
yeah. And it's like, oh, look at that! And everybody was like freaking out. They're like, is Britney Spears a Sailor Moon fan? Whoa! It was pretty cool. It's always cool to see things like that and see it like in pop culture like that. Just pop. Heck yeah.
Also, one of the actresses from the Philippines that I'm following also once posted a picture of her, I don't know, laptop or of her iPad lock screen, and there was Artemis and Luna on it, I think. And
that's cool.
She didn't even comment on it, but just posted it, and I was like, okay, you're clearly a Sailor Moon fan. That's pretty cool as well.
I've seen that in like on people's cars. Like, I think when I first started my Twitter account, like, there are people who have, like, the decals, and it's just the silhouette. Like, there's so many things you could do with, like, just a silhouette. And, like, there's, like, these little, like, stickers, like, silhouette stickers of, like, Sailor Moon or, like, the brooch. Yeah, I want one of those. I want one of those so much. But, like, I don't know if Andrew will let me put that on my little Prius. I don't know. I got a little Prius. Yes, I do. Yeah.
Actually, I think maybe all the listeners out there should comment down below what they include in their everyday life that is related to Sailor Moon, and that is maybe somehow subtle and not like really saying, here, this is Sailor Moon, but only for people who know what Sailor Moon is about.
Right.
That would be really cool to read people's experiences with that.
Oh yes, I would love to hear how people include Sailor Moon or their fandoms like in their everyday life. Like it's cool to see how different people do it, because you can just get so creative with it.
That's true.
Whether it's accessories or whatever.
Something else I can think of how to include Sailor Moon in your everyday life is also kind of related to fashion, but it's not exactly clothes, but it's jewelry. For example, at a convention, I bought a necklace from a fan artist that created their own jewelry, but they based it on Sailor Moon, so it's somehow subtly
cool.
hinting at Sailor Moon, but it's not official merch. And my friends also once sent me a Sailor Moon bracelet for my birthday. It has different little charms on it, like a little Luna and a little Artemis and so on. Aww. So that's really subtle as well. And thinking of jewelry and accessories, you could actually also add like keychains that you could hang on your bag or your keys, for example. So yeah, that's also something you can add.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Yeah, that's really cool. I sent you a necklace one time. We have matching
Yeah,
necklaces.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true. So like I said, you can hang accessories on your bags, or you can use purses with Sailor Moon designs on it. Thinking of purses, we have a little game prepared that we want to play now. And we've seen it across the internet that people somehow take on the challenge to show people what is in their bag. And we thought it might be quite funny to do that with a Sailor Senshi. And we picked the 5 inner Senshi. And Luna and I both wrote down 1 item per Senshi that they could have in their purse. We're gonna talk about what each of us wrote down and compare if our ideas somehow match.
All right, sounds good. What order do we want to go in? Let's go in the order of the. Let's go like Sailor Venus, Sailor Mercury. Let's do it that way. So, Sailor Venus, what would she have in her purse?
So you're starting with the most difficult one, actually.
Yes, I am.
So I was thinking Sailor Venus is somehow a total fangirl, somehow. And then I was thinking of her obsession of the 3 lights in the 5th season. And then I thought, but I wasn't so sure because it wasn't in the 90s and you didn't have iPods or something. Then I was thinking maybe she could have either a 3 lights mixtape if we want to go old school, or if we want to update this and say she has a 3 lights CD in her bag. Depending on which time you put her in.
That's actually really funny. I actually said the same thing.
Really?
Considering the fact that we thought Venus was the hardest. Like, I actually wrote the same thing. I was like even iPods and MP3 players are a little dated now, but like that's definitely what she would have. Even at minimum, she'd have a set of headphones ready to go to plug into her phone. Like, she would definitely have headphones. And if I wanted to get really weird with it, like, again, she's obsessed with her celebrities. She would just, like, have some sort of, like, celebrity, like, magazine just, like, folded up and, like, tucked in. Like, she would have it ready to go. She would just whip it out and be like, look at this latest thing. Like, definitely. Like, something just odd like that related to... to the 3 lights, or like whoever her most recent idol is. She would just pull it right out of her purse.
What's the next Senshi?
The next Senshi is Sailor Mercury. What would Sailor Mercury have in her purse?
I was initially thinking about her glasses, but then I thought this would be lame to put on the list. So I wrote down book because she likes reading and she probably has a book with her all the time, depending on where she has to sit around and wait for something. I don't know. Maybe she has a book with her and can read while she waits for someone. And as we speak about the book, I was actually contemplating whether to put a manga in the slot of Venus, because I was contemplating whether I should put the mixtape or a manga, but then I thought Ami already has the book and I didn't want to have similar items. So what did you choose for Mercury?
I had thought a book, but then I was like, no, like, everybody has, like, one odd object in their purse, like, something really odd. Books are pretty typical.
Okay.
You know what? Something that's not typical to have in your purse, but Mercury definitely would if she didn't have her supercomputer? A calculator.
Oh, that's true.
She would have a calculator ready to go on hand.
That's so accurate.
A calculator and a pen ready to go always. Like, if she did not have her little supercomputer, she would have a calculator. And everybody would be like, why do you have a calculator? And she'd be like, because I need to do calculations. She'd be like, because I need to do calculations. She has a calculator.
Though nowadays, she probably has it on her phone.
Yes, but we're talking 90s here.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
I mean, we'll be, we'll give it a little
bit. Mixtapes.
Although, you know what? Like, Mercury would always be, like, ready to go. Like, she'd always be prepared. And if her phone died, she'd probably still want a calculator ready. Mm-hmm. Like, still. If her phone dies, she don't have a calculator. Ever. Yeah.
Okay. Next Senshi?
Next Senshi is Sailor Mars. Now, your favorite is Sailor Mars, so what would she have in her purse, Michelle?
I was trying to think of something more interesting, but my initial thought was red lipstick, because somehow I related. Somehow I thought of red. No, not somehow, but her theme color is red, obviously. But somehow I was thinking of lipstick, and I can't really explain why.
No, that's so funny, because I literally thought the same exact thing. I was talking about this with my friend Dania this morning, actually, and we said the same thing. I was like, well, you're a big Sailor Mars fan. Mm-hmm. What would Sailor Mars have in her purse? And she's like, oh, she would have a power lipstick. Like a
power
hardcore
lipstick. I like the sound of it.
Yes, all right. Like, she just pulls out this sassy red lipstick when she feels like it, and just power lipstick, right? A red lipstick, a big, powerful red. She would just have ready to go, and that's what she said. She's like, she'd have a big, powerful red lipstick. Either that, or she would have a taser. And I was like, a taser? A taser? She's like, yes, because, like, Mars, like, she's just, like, ready to go. Like, she's just always fired up, and she'd be, like, ready to go with, like, a taser. Like, be like, back off, dude. Like, because she's, like, always, like, I don't need a guy. Like, anti-guy almost sometimes. So she would just have, like, something ready to go. So, like, I wouldn't go as far as to say a taser. Although that had me laughing so hard.
That's definitely more interesting than a red lipstick. But it would also be very strange.
It would be very strange. But maybe not necessarily a taser. I wouldn't go as far as that, Daniel, okay? I would say maybe a pepper spray. Mm-hmm. Like, she'd probably have pepper spray in her purse ready to go. Like, yo.
You know what? What I'm thinking of spontaneously is maybe, like, I don't know if you have those in the US, but for example here we have, like, plasters for your feet when your feet hurt because you wear, like, high heels all the time and so on, and you get blisters. And maybe she would have those.
Yes.
Ready to go.
Yes, because because she'd wear, like, powerful, so she'd have, like, powerful lipstick, like her power lipstick, but you can't put shoes, like, because I'm thinking, like, heels, right?
Yeah,
like power heels,
like, but plasters for your blisters.
Yeah,
they definitely fit into your purse.
Yeah, yes, because you can't fit shoes in your purse, so that's why I didn't pick, like, high heel shoes. But, like, like that for blisters for your high heels, that makes sense. That makes sense. Let's move on to Jupiter. What would Jupiter have?
Sorry, I just have to laugh because I'm looking at what I wrote down, and I somehow thought of tea when I thought of Jupiter. And then I thought, okay, you can't put a teacup in your bag, and you can't put a kettle into your bag, but you can put tea bags in your bag. Like, have your favorite kind of tea ready to go. When you need a break, just boil up some hot water, and then there you go. You can drink your tea.
That's actually really funny. Jupiter would probably be one of the ones that would have something weird like that. Like, she would probably have one of the weirdest things in her purse because she's kind of like a real mom character.
Yeah.
Like, she's such a mom. You know, I'll actually back you up on that. I wouldn't go as far as to say like a tea bag, but I would say sugar packets.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar packets, ready to go. Like, that's something some people have, right? So, like, that's like something that mom characters usually have. Like, the mom of the group usually is overly prepared and has a packet of sugar ready to go. Like, she just probably took it from when she went to, like, the cafe and just put it in her purse. Usagi'd probably do that, too. But she wouldn't use it for tea. She would just use it to snack on. Like, she would basically just take some sugar and just have it ready just to have sugar, like, later on. But that's besides the point. We'll get to her in a minute. So, for me, I said coupons.
Oh.
Jupiter would have...
That's actually quite smart. That's really smart.
Yes, because she's always cooking. She's always cooking. Like, she's bakes. Like, she would have coupons. Like, she would have... She's the cooker. Like,
Absolutely.
She's the one who bakes and cooks. Mm-hmm. Yes. So she's the one who would have coupons ready to go buy her food items for when she goes and bakes or cooks. 100%.
That's true.
She would have a little coupon book. Again, she's the mom. Sugar packets and coupons.
And tea bags.
Tea bags.
Like this video if you carry tea bags in your purse.
I mean, I don't know if that's the case. But if somebody does, we really want to know.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's only one Sailor Senshi left.
Only one left, and that is Sailor Moon. What would Usagi have in her purse?
So I initially thought of food, and then I was wondering about what kind of food she would carry around. Because basically she eats everything. But I was thinking of the first episode, and then I was like, okay, it's pretty obvious she would probably carry around a sandwich.
Sandwich. Okay.
But it's
right.
Kind of lame. It's not that interesting of an object, but it was my first thought.
Okay, it's really funny because I totally thought food as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to get a little bit more interesting with this. Mm-hmm. Usagi would be the one to have a piece of cake wrapped in tinfoil, ready to go in her purse. Like, she would have had a piece of cake, or she would have gone somewhere. All right, there's this episode where they're all obsessing over cake.
Mm-hmm.
I would bet you like $100 that when she left that cake place, it was in the it was like an episode that had like emerald in it, and they were like, there was a cake shop. I would bet money on the fact that Usagi left that day with a piece of cake from that cake shop, wrapped it up in tinfoil, and put it in her purse for later. Like, why? Because my mom is basically Usagi, and she has been caught doing that before. Yes!
Wow.
My mom's done that. She has pulled out a piece of cake from her purse, wrapped in tinfoil. And I was like, that is so... And I remember even back then, I was like, that is something that Usagi would do. Yes. So, yeah. I think we did actually pretty good with this. I want to...
Except my tea bags.
And my taser. Mars' taser. But if you want to get real weird, I mean, my friend Daniel told me last night that she puts rocks in her purse. So, what? I mean, yes! Check out the replay of the live stream that I did with Daniel. Yep. She had rocks in her purse. Like, she just... I don't know.
Yeah, I guess you never know.
No, so you can have weird things. It's okay. We don't judge. If you have something weird in your purse right now, put it down in the comments.
For example, the tea bag.
Careful if you have a tea bag or a taser. Do we want to wrap this up?
I think we covered everything, so
I think we
we
did.
can wrap this up. But before we head to our quote, we'd like to remind you that everything we mentioned in this podcast, meaning certain brands or products that you can actually purchase, is not paid promotion. We're just discussing this here and just thinking of it. So
Yeah,
you don't
just
have
like
to
that.
buy them.
Yeah,
we were
like
just
that.
talking
Oh,
about
sorry.
them because it was convenient to mention them, and they are actually used in everyday life by ourselves. So
Yeah,
don't feel like this is some sort of promotion.
it's not. Like, I wish we were getting paid for this to get promoted, but no. Nope, I'm poor. But you know why I'm also poor? Because, and what makes me sad that the fact that I am poor, there is the most adorable Sailor Moon denim jacket from Box Lunch. It is the best denim jacket I have ever seen in my entire life, but it's like $90 and it's out of stock. So, like, it's probably even more expensive if you go to try to find it on eBay. But I will own that one day. But it's so expensive. There's, like, Sailor Moon wedding rings. There are so many Sailor Moon items out there that are, like, fashion items, like subtle Sailor Moon items. But they are so expensive.
Yeah, and also not only official merch, but also from artists that create them by themselves. Like, for example, on Etsy, I think there are also a bunch of rings and necklaces and bracelets and so on. And they look so adorable, but I can't buy them all because I can't throw out my money like that.
Yes.
And
why?
And that leads us to our quote of today's episode, which is taken from season 2 of Sailor Moon. And it says, "I want all of this, but I don't have any money." And we probably can relate to this so much.
Definitely.
That's why we chose this one for today's episode. Thinking of all the merch out there and the non-official merch. And we kind of want it, but we also know that we shouldn't buy everything. Because it wouldn't be reasonable to throw out your money like that.
Hence why we have to make our own and have to come up with our own Sailor Moon inspired outfits and stuff. It's like that meme where it's like, I think it's Fry from like Futurama, and he's like, "Take all my money." Yeah. I really wish I could do that with all those Sailor Moon items. Oh my gosh.
But on the other hand, you would also need the space in your house to to like put the things in.
Valid.
Yeah.
One day I'll be rich and have a big house, and I'll have a room just dedicated to Sailor Moon.
Wow, that would be epic.
That would be epic. My office is already getting to that.
Yeah.
It's great. Yep. So I guess that's it. I enjoyed this podcast a lot.
Me too.
This was a fun episode. This was a fun one.
Also, I'd like to challenge the listeners to, first of all, write down what you do in your everyday life to somehow include Sailor Moon in it. For example, do you have a Sailor Moon ringtone, or do you have a Sailor Moon necklace, or a decal on your car? And the second thing we'd like to know from you is what you think the Sailor Senshi would have in their purses.
Absolutely. Yep.
Oh, and if you carry a tea bag in your own purse. That's going to be the running gag of today's episode.
If you have anything else that we did not mention in this podcast that you do, or that you have, or that you could think about when it comes to the topic of Sailor Moon in everyday life, please let us know down below in the comments. Including a Sailor Moon quote at the end of each episode here is something that we'd like to do going forward. So if you guys have a special or favorite Sailor Moon quote that you'd like us to include in a future episode, feel free to let us know what that is down in the comments. Let us know what episode it's from and who's saying it, and we'd love to be able to include it.
And if you have any other suggestions, for example, if there's a certain aspect or topic that concerns Sailor Moon that you want us to talk about, then let us know also in the comments. If you enjoyed this podcast, then please give us a like. And if you want to stay up to date, you can follow my account and LunaTK's account because the bloopers to each episode are going to be on her channel. Until next time, this is Michelle from Heart Panorama.
And I'm LunaTK. And we hope you found this podcast Moonielicious.
Talk to you soon.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.